Hello fellow humans, today we're going to have a look at two excellent heavy tank replays, because in the previous video we looked at a couple of medium tanks, now we're going to have a look at heavies. Now if you want your replays featured on my channel, put them on my Discord server, link to that in the description. Now we go here with the Concept 1B, and this is going to be a pretty good one. Now the vehicle itself is, well, it's a collector vehicle, so you have to purchase it to obtain it. And there's not really that much you're missing out on. Now, it is a solid vehicle, no doubt about that. You've got 380 alpha damage, you've got pretty much standard penetration of 260, 330. So, there's nothing special about that. You have lower alpha damage, let's say, at tier 125. However, you're a bit more mobile, and you do have some more armor. Because this thing, from the front, it's pretty hard to pen, especially if it's hull down, because it's basically just got a tiny pointy head. It can be penned easily on the side, so don't turn this vehicle away from the enemy, because if you point it straight at the enemy, you pretty much can't be penned. If you point it away, you have a big, long side that is very easy to get penned. Now, what do you want to do with this vehicle? Well, what do you do with heavy tanks in general? Now, the thing is, between medium tanks and heavy tanks, the big advantage of heavy tanks is that they tend to have higher alpha damages and also have a lot more armor, which is good, because higher alpha damage means you have to peek less, and armor means that even if you don't angle or anything like that, the enemy is less likely to just outright penetrate you, making you more safe. So it is sort of easier to play. However, playing them well is still very difficult and is about the same skill level required, obviously, but sort of a 40%er is going to do better in a heavy tank than a medium tank, because the heavy tank can itself provide a bit more of a baseline that you don't have to cover with skill. Now the thing is, if you happen to be on the enemy team here, then skill is not really what is being displayed. Now, the thing is, if you get extremely high damage, high performance games that go beyond 6,000, 7,000, things like that, those are luck, right? You need skill, but you can't get those without luck. Just keep that in mind. They're insanely good, but you have to combine the skill with the opportunity, and then you have a chance to do extremely well. Just like in real life. Hard work alone gets you nowhere without the right amount of luck and the right opportunities. And then seeing those opportunities is a skill that you would definitely want to have. Now in this case, it is a 3 versus 4. The opportunity here is that E100 is relatively low, so if you take out that E100, you sort of equalize it 3v3. Any tank that can't shoot back is a good thing in this situation, because you want to have as little opposition as possible, ideally. And that's kind of how you want to do that, because here's the thing. The more the enemies fight back, obviously, the less of a chance you have to win. So you want the enemy to be fighting as little as possible, and just lay down and let it happen. In real life, you don't want to do that, because then it gets boring. But in Blitz, you want your counterpart to lay down and do nothing, ideally. So, the thing is, the Object 260, it's not a great tank, really. In this case, I have no idea what he's doing, because the Concept 1B shot the gun there. But you don't want to facehug vehicles like this. And this is just things that are just general knowledge eventually. If you pick these things up, you'll be a lot better off, because here's the thing. If you don't know that you're not supposed to do that, then that's completely 100% on that Object 260. Now he's getting a shot, and you see that he reverses right away. He gets the shot, and he immediately goes back to facehugging for no reason at all, because he should know he doesn't have the front armor to bounce shots. And now we're up to 6,300 damage here by, I have no idea how to pronounce your nickname, but you're doing great. And now we're at 730 points. This is supremacy. And now it's a 1v1 against the chonky one. The mouse. The biggest annoyance in World of Tanks Blitz. I don't want to say threat, because it isn't if you know how to counter it, but the biggest annoyance to deal with in the entirety of World of Tanks Blitz, because the vehicle does have annoying armor angles, has an incredible amount of hit points, 3,000 of them. That is hella annoying. And what is even worse right now, we are playing not only against a higher hit point mouse with higher alpha damage, we're also playing against time, because Supremacy doesn't like seeing you win properly. It likes to see you win on points, because in my opinion the points go way too fast. So what we have here is essentially you're fighting a mouse that has high hit points, that ideally is a worse player. And by the way, there's the fuel tank of the mouse if you happen to want to set a mouse on fire, the fuel tank is right below the front of the turret. So you can shoot it there, and now the mouse gets a shot into the concept right here. We're still even out of APCR at this point, so the alpha damage and the DPM is even further reduced right now. And after 7 rounds... Oh, that one went to the track. Oh no. After 6 more rounds, that is it. That only leaves HE, and there is simply no time to do that. 950 points on both. If you look at the ticks, then the green one is going up faster. So even if this is draw, green will win. But it is just not great to win that way. Now 700, and oh my god, the mouse is now on a 1 shot. Now, but it is heat. It is 1,000, and what has happened? 13 hit points are left standing with 1,000 points. And that concludes a absolutely fantastic game with a very incompetent enemy team that lets Gondoris farm to 9,000 damage in the Concept 1B, which is pretty damn impressive. But now we go into a different one, and now we play in the city. Now, I personally am not a fan of the city whatsoever. I do not recommend going there. I'm also not a fan of fail platooning, but here we are. Now, by the way, if what you see here with the Minotaur appearing out of nowhere, it's a replay bug, because replays isn't the video of the game. What a replay file does, it simply saves the positions, the angles, all those kind of things of the vehicles, and then replays them, essentially. So it's not a video, it's just, this tank was here, show it here. So if you have incompatible things, then it can happen that a tank just pops out of nowhere because the data previously didn't exist, things like that. So it's technology, don't question it, just accept it's bad. Just like this one. But what isn't bad is the T-57 Heavy and this replay. Now, going city is most of the time a very, very bad idea. Because the problem that you have with cities and heavy tanks is that you always have the disadvantage if you're the one that peaks. This right here is a 90-degree corner. What happens if you peek around it with your vehicle? Exactly. The enemy, if aimed at you, has a shot. If the enemy isn't aimed at you, like the 60 TP in this case, there's nothing he can do. And this 57 Heavy can unload pretty quickly, and you can scoot back around the corner. If you have a pile of rubble like that, then it can work out. Like that one right there. The problem is, that isn't the case in a lot of cities. Most of them are just 90-degree house corners, because, I mean, who expects houses in a city? I mean, where else are you going to put them? So that's not great. And if you play in a city, you have to be very aware of what's behind the house before you peek the house. Because if not, you're going to get shot. Because the one that peeks always has the disadvantage if you have flat corners like this. Unless you're playing something like a VK90 or a VK45 that are only good at side scraping. Then you can get around that, you can just side scrape out and you'll be fine. But the amount of vehicles that can properly and reliably side scrape, you can obviously almost count that on a single hand. So don't really rely on that tactic. Ideally, what you want in a city and what you expect in a city is bad players, because that's normally where they happen to go. If you see a medium tank going into a city, there are 2 options. In 1% of the cases, it's a super unicum that knows the bad players on a city and is deciding to farm them. And in 99% of cases, they're just not good at the game. So, yeah, for example, why would you put an M103 that is made to go hull down, because it has the gun depression, it has sort of turret armor, and you put it on flat ground, where it doesn't work? What also didn't work is Germans, because I'm recording this on the 1st of May. But anyway, this is a 1v3. So, Colorbanos time. Hopefully. It's a 57 Heavy, so what you have to keep in mind here, what you have to watch out for, the Conway is 1,600 HP, so he can't be clipped right here, so keep that in the back of your mind. The E5 just, I have no idea what he was thinking, he just peeks out, wide swing, and he gets himself clipped into oblivion, which is just, I have no idea how you managed to be that thick to make that happen. Now at this point, there's a slight mistake, you see that? Just hesitate a bit. This is the only really mistake that was made in this battle, because the Conway is on his way now, right? And if he wouldn't have stopped, the Conway wouldn't have been able to shoot him, but Conway misses because, I mean, it's a Conway. So, if that would have penned, that would have meant that the Conway is now a 1, but of course he clown peaks. Of course, the Conway clown peeks. That is exactly what I was talking about earlier. If the enemy is looking at you and you just peek out like a clown, they know. They're just gonna shoot you. So don't clown peek. Only peek if either you know the enemy's not looking at you, or you're a VK and you can side-scrape out around the corner. And now he's not looking. Now, I'm not really big fan of this like complete rushing here, because if you would have missed one, it wouldn't have been reloaded. But Supra here has done the right thing. He high-rolled, he got lucky. And with that, not just luck, but a tremendous amount of skill with 8,000 damage. Well done. Let's see you in the next one. Goodbye.